CBS 46 News presents Public Affairs on Peach.
Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Public Affairs on Peach. I'm Giovanna Derpick. Our topic this morning is President Donald Trump's executive order on immigration. The executive order prevents refugees from 7 countries from entering the U.S. for at least 90 days. Now, those countries are right there on your screen: Iran, Iraq, Syria, Libya, Sudan, Somalia, and Yemen. People holding green cards were caught off guard by the order. Some were detained before being allowed to enter the country. At Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport and airports from coast to coast, people gathered to protest the order and show support for refugees. There were also questions about its legality, how it was implemented, and why. Now, we're going to explore the issue over the next half hour, beginning with our first guest, immigration attorney Charles Cook, who's also a professor of law at Emory University. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Okay, so Charles, when you first heard about this, what was your first reaction?
Well, we knew this was coming because it had been published the week before in draft format. And the first concern, of course, was what is the extent of the president's authority and power to do these things? Immigration law is really written in a way that Congress has given to the president very ample authority to bar people from coming to the United States, but is also in subsequent legislation limited to that in ways that ensure that the president can't discriminate against certain types of people. Beginning in 1940, as part of what's called the Alien Registration Act, Congress gave power to the president to basically bar any foreign national or group of foreign nationals from the U.S. And presidents have relied on that since that time to bar certain groups of people. Even President Obama did it for a brief period of time in regards to a certain country. But in 1965, Congress said, well, you can do that, but you can't discriminate based upon national origin or religion. And so it's really interesting to see now the use of this executive authority to bar people from certain areas of the world, which may be in conflict with the way the law is currently written.
Now, what is your opinion as to the constitutionality of it?
Well, there are certain aspects of it that are constitutional and certain other aspects of it that aren't constitutional. The president has the authority to pause the refugee program. No president has done it to the extent the president did, where he was basically barring every refugee from the entire world for 120 days. That's never been done before. And no president has barred 7 countries at a time from coming to the United States. At least the part of the order that bars countries based upon nationality, that is probably unconstitutional. And at least 5 federal court judges have agreed with that position to this point. We don't have final orders yet from any of these judges, and the courts will tell us ultimately whether it's unconstitutional. The bigger question is, was it the right thing to do at this time?
Now, you had brought up something very important. You said that we knew it was coming, got information a week before. Why do you think that it seemed to catch so many people off guard?
Well, I think a lot of people thought that a lot of these draft executive orders that have been floating out there were simply, hey, we're going to fulfill our promises, maybe kind of give it to the base people who voted for him. A lot of people did not believe that Donald Trump would do what he said he was going to do. And I think he's proved now, if he said he's going to do it, he's going to do it. And it may be even more aggressive than you thought it was.
Now, a lot of people pointed out that the 9/11 hijackers, they came from Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Lebanon. Those were not on the list. Now, I know that President Trump has said that, hey, this list came from President Obama. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, that's actually not entirely accurate. In fact, this list comes from a bill passed by Congress in 2014, a Republican-controlled Congress, that was part of a bigger appropriations bill, so the president had to sign it. And in this bill, it said there are certain countries from which, if you're from, because of activities involving Al-Qaeda or ISIS, we do not want you using what's called the visa waiver program if you also happen to be doing a dual citizen of England, for example. So let's say you're born in Yemen, but you actually are a citizen of England right now. You could just get on a plane and come. And what Congress said, no. If you're from one of these countries that maybe have a lot of terrorism going on, then you can't use the visa waiver program anymore. So that's where they got that information. It wasn't President Obama that created a list. It was the GOP Congress that created a list and a bill that the president signed. And Obama implemented that law as he was required to do. So it's kind of an oversimplification of what actually happened.
So what are you telling people who are concerned, who have green cards here, people who are wondering if they should leave the country because they're afraid they can't come back?
There's lots of different people that are concerned about that. First, green card holders, they were mistakenly, because the order was written very vaguely, some of them barred or turned back from the borders on Friday and Saturday and Sunday. That has now been clarified, and the order has been changed such that permanent residents can travel freely without a problem. So if you're a permanent resident, feel free to travel. But if you are a visa holder with a passport from one of these 7 countries and you're in the United States, your visa has actually been provisionally revoked by the Department of State. So you cannot travel. But other people that are not one of these 7 countries that are concerned about this order, the best advice we give you is this point: unless you need to travel, don't travel.
Okay, lots of good information there. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
And we're just getting started on Public Affairs on Peach. We'll talk to a man in charge of an organization that works with refugees when Public Affairs on Peach returns. Stick around.